It is not. God, man, our picture looks beautiful today.
Good.
Look how good this looks. And welcome to the Barrel Buddies. I'm James.
And I'm BJ. Welcome back to your weekly whiskey, beer, bourbon, wine, and all things barrel-aged vlog.
Wow.
Vlogcast. That's us.
Vlogcast, podcast, blog, pogs. Welcome to the show, everybody.
Hi.
So, welcome back. Beej, welcome. You're back in the saddle. You were out last week.
Thanks for keeping on. Keep on keeping on with without me last week.
Yeah, Zach and I pivoted a little bit and had a beer show.
I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did
good stuff.
Brewery and Bottle Logic, two of our favorites.
You guys did excellent. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
Although I was a little upset with some of the calls in the chat.
Why is that?
To keep me off of the show or keep me coming back. I'm back. Like a bad guy.
He's back.
I'm your number one guy.
Sub 1K says, let's get the show on the road.
Couldn't agree more.
Couldn't agree more.
Somebody's excited.
He also said we did a great show without you, I think is what he means.
Yeah. No, it was
a good show.
I agree. The show was really enjoyable. I had a good time. I liked the football segment. We've been talking about putting that in. That's going to be coming more and more. So more to come on that. And tonight we are going to do a distillery, an offering that we have really overlooked on this show. Do
me a big favor. Move that to like here because this has the biggest flex and no one can see it. There, that's beautiful. Look at that.
But it's kind of in the dark.
We have the entire lineup of Four Roses and we haven't done a show on it yet.
Yeah, we had been talking about doing Four Roses, and here it is. We've got the whole lineup, as you just said, Jimmy. We've got the original Four Roses, the Four Roses single barrel,
small batch select, but we don't have a small batch.
So we don't have the full lineup. Ooh, that's it. I quit.
All right, we're just
okay. You're redeemed with you're redeemed
with the limited edition.
With the limited edition,
little minor flex. So, just to talk a little bit about how this works, right? So
who is Four Roses? Why did we overlook them?
Well, I don't know.
Are they in the normal place of the country? Do they put out the same juice that we've been drinking? What are they? Who are they?
I don't know that we overlooked them per se. I just think that they're so almost, I would say they're almost so readily available that we just kind of overlooked them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's just always there, right?
Exactly.
And I wanted us to get back to bottles that all of you, like everybody can go get, right? We've had some bottles recently where it's been, this is a one-off. We got it on Seal Box. It's some subreddit bourbon pick. It's some group pick out of rando nowhere. It's something, right? Now we have Four Roses is distributed nationally.
And why is that? Who owns Four Roses?
So, funny you mentioned that because I was like, let's do some investigation here.
Is this a Brown Foreman? Is this Diageo?
No.
Who is this?
So, believe it or not, it's changed hands a few times, right? So, Four Roses, first of all, they go way back, all right? Paul Jones Jr., 1884.
Okay.
They have some weight behind.
Got a little history.
They got some history, okay? Up until 1943, he ran the show. And then in 1943, Seagram's bought him out. But the story doesn't end there. Okay. So Seagram's in 1943. And then I want to say he's a gigantic name, but a man by the name of Jim Rutledge became their master distiller in 1966. And he's kind of a big deal. If you look up Jim Rutledge, I mean, he's like
been around the
probably
business
one
a long
of
time.
The big deal master distillers in the industry. Anyway, so moving forward, so that it was Seagram, and then we have
Jim Rutledge. He's a master distiller.
Yep, and then in 2002, Kirin Brewing Company.
As in like Kirin Ichiban, the rice lager?
Kirin Ichiban rice lager purchased the Four Roses bourbon brand, the trademark and production facilities.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
that's currently who they're still owned by then?
That is correct. Okay. And then in 2015, Jim Rutledge retired. And Brent Elliott, who had worked for Jim for about 10 years, took over the reins as the Four Roses master distiller.
And that is the master distiller on the bottle we are drinking tonight, which is just regular Four Roses bourbon. We'll tell you the fun story of how they got their name as we get into it. But in the spirit of Sub 1K,
I see what you in the spirit of things, like
Zing,
the
zing,
spirit
zing.
of whiskey. Haha. Really quick to the chat.
Oh, excuse me.
Top Feed Coco, welcome. Uncle Punky, welcome.
Howdy.
Chris Conrad, welcome.
Howdy.
He says powder in the house. Uncle Punky,
Powder in the house.
Uncle P. Everyone's
Uncle
here.
Powder.
Oh, and then Sub 1K says, if you want to say it right, it's Kirin.
Oh, he actually has been telling me some fun
Interesting
Japanese
factoid.
things. There was a Japanese word he told me the other day that I believe meant anyways. So it's like when you say, anyways, back to what I was saying about in the spirit of things, I think it's Pocododo.
Oh, interesting.
So
All right,
Sub
let's
1K,
jump
you'll
in
tell
this.
us. Let's jump right into this. Cheers to
I'm
all
not,
of you.
First of
Hello.
all, hold on. This color, I am not digging. It almost has like a yellowish.
It looks apple juicy.
Yeah, it's a little apple juicy here tonight, folks. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but
Yeah, I
you
don't
can't judge everything by its color, right? Really bright nose. Wow, a lot of citrus. Ooh.
Yeah, but it's like
Green apple and citrus all the way.
yeah, I was just gonna say
Little
it's
pepper.
almost like an apple. Maybe I said it earlier because of the apple juice comment, but
Yeah.
it does have a smell of like when you're boiling apple cider on the stove, but it's not super mulled. It's just like you're just boiling the juice or boiling the
Yeah,
cider.
it's like a crisp cider smell. I love that. Like, and then it's got a little bit of orange, a little citrus zest. And then you get ooh, but if you really get your nose in there, you get a little astringent alcohol kick. Oof. So, what do we got here? 80 proof.
Yeah.
80 proof, so it's coming in at 40% alcohol. It is aged for a minimum of 5 years, which I'm actually surprised.
Why is that?
Because
why are you surprised?
Listen, most of the big deal, not even big deal, just all the like fly by night NDPs out there right now,
Non-distilling
producers are sourcing MGP juice that's like 3 years old,
which is not great for those of you keeping score.
And then what they do is they take that and then they'll throw it in a random cask or some weird shiz for another year.
Okay.
And call it a 4-year, whatever, 6 months to a year, whatever.
Yeah, I think that we had a conversation a little earlier about how we don't think that's an actual good practice, and that while they've made a lot of money and there is a lot of demand right now, they should really sit on some of this and age it a little longer because they are getting such young juice.
I still think like 6 to 8 years is a sweet spot. I mean, I think for all bourbon, I've found the most that I enjoy of my flavor profile. Let me take it back. It's between 6 and 8 years, and I say I stick to that range because I think over 8 years or older, like if it's older than 8 years, you get a lot more of that biff tannins, the kind of the oakiness comes in.
Yeah,
which
that's true.
I personally am not a fan of. I think you just kind of hit this sweet spot with like the 6 to 8 year mark.
Okay.
So
well, you said this is a 6 year, right?
Yeah.
So let's jump into this.
All right. Well,
we've gotten a good nose, so let's.
Hey, Barrel Buddies, what are you drinking out there? If any of you are joining us with a beverage, let us know while we're.
Okay, and taking the first sip, I was also kind of taking some of the nose. I did get a lot of oak, and that first sip. It was really oak prevalent, but it's not biff tannins. It's just oak prevalent.
This is very light, but in a pleasant way.
It is light. You can really taste the barrel char on this. So if that's a characteristic you really like, it's one of the things that I think makes itself really apparent in that first sip. So you get in the barrel char, which is not smoky.
Can I eat some more?
Please, sir.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
I'd like some more.
More? Thank you.
I light poured you tonight. James has been feeling a little under the weather.
Yeah, I've been under the weather. Thank you.
And so he's taking a little medication that says you
I shouldn't be
mix
drinking.
it with
so
alcohol.
this is only going to be my only.
We
one.
don't condone that. Please don't do that. We don't think that's a good idea. This was a personal choice that James made, not a statement to the world about what you should be doing.
This is true.
So,
all right.
Okay, please protect us on that.
So let's see here. Dodger update. Boys up 4-1 in the third. There we go. Zach, unfortunately, Zach's out of play tonight. He has some other commitments and is not joining us. So
sorry, Zach.
Yeah, hopefully we'll catch him.
Thinking of you.
Catch him on the flip side.
Okay,
War Clan, welcome, bud. Welcome to the
up?
show.
Yeah, this is really light-bodied and drinks pretty easy. I can see why people would make this a daily drinker because it's pretty unoffensive. I can see also mixing this with some soda water. Like, we're big fans of, especially with a daily drinker, to make that really last and make it not seem like we're such alcohol enthusiasts. We will at home, you pour yourself a decent whiskey pour and then you top it off with a little ice and a little club soda.
Yeah.
And I can see where this would be delightful with some ice and some club soda.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. This is and I got to pull up my
and I'll tell you that we did do, for those of you who really are keeping score, and Shelly is one of those viewers. Shelly will call us out on this.
Yeah, what do you got?
We did have Four Roses. We had this bottle on a previous show. It was a It was a blind tasting where we did a low proof wild turkey, like a wild turkey 81.
I remember that. Yeah, we had that
put it
old
also
90s
up against
bottle.
It was that was Evan Williams. That was when we really discovered how much we loved Evan Williams as a daily drinker. And so that was a one time we had it on the show. We thought, hey, you know what? We should really bring it back. We should really give it its time in the sunlight here. So we did want to talk about it. So as we're kind of enjoying all that, I thought I'd share how Four Roses first got their name. We read this on their website too, but it's actually on the back of the bottle here.
Oh, that's a cool little story then. Yeah, you got to tell
good
everybody.
Story. It's romantic.
Shelly, welcome.
Just saying you would keep and score on us, Shelly. Glad you made it. So Paul Jones Jr., the founder of Four Roses Bourbon, became smitten by a popular Southern belle. He sent a proposal to her, and she replied that if her answer were yes, she would wear a corsage of roses on her gown to the upcoming grand ball.
Okay.
When she showed up on the night of the ball in her beautiful gown, she wore a corsage of 4 red roses. And he later named his bourbon 4 Roses as a symbol of his devout passion for the lovely belle. Aww.
Oh, wow. Careful there.
I was overcome with emotions.
Cool.
And cheers.
So she shows up at the ball. She's got the 4 Roses corsage. She's like, oh, she's into me. She's into me. This is it. If only it was that easy, right? Jeez.
I mean, he put the work in.
He put the work in, I'm sure. I mean,
he put the work in.
Look at his legacy. I mean, of course he put the work in.
I mean, he's going to a debutante's ball.
Well, that too.
First of all.
Exactly.
This is no schmo. This is like a debutante's ball where you get to meet belles.
Yeah.
Southern belles.
I'm sure he's got to be a single Southern gentleman.
I'm sure he's a man who said,
you see how our accents come out?
Why, I do declare. Why, this could be some of the finest whiskey that I have ever had.
Listen, I would own it if I was in the South. I almost owned it when I was in Boston for a few years. You get the accent, kind of comes out.
I can see where you would.
I will easily blend in if I'm in the South. I would do the same thing. I would change all my music to country music.
You already have.
I kind of have.
You already have. I walked in this
evening
and I said, "What are we listening to?" You said, "Oh, that's a little Merle Haggard."
Yeah, and we got some Hank Williams and some Willie Nelson.
I mean, I'm not mad about it. I like
old school country. Hey, is nothing wrong with that?
I dig it. It's a good change.
Some good tunes, and it's some really good drinking music. Some good old country tunes.
It's a little sad.
That's all right.
The original emo, man, is old country.
Wow, stop that.
It is. I
don't know. I used to really knock country. I used to really hate it. But now I have this newfound kind of awakening renaissance.
How, their girl and baby left me.
Thanks for the recommendation, Sub 1K. I will have to check that person out.
Who do you say? Come on.
No. we'll go there
Okay.
later.
Okay.
All right, so let's see here. So back to Four Roses, right? So let me talk to you about price first of all.
Yeah. What's the value rating on this?
Do you know, honestly? Because I'm going to ask you to guess. But if you know, don't guess.
I think it's a $19.99 bottle. I
You
think this is a $19.99 bottle.
you would just win the Price is Right with that guess.
Ding, 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 ding,
It is
ding.
absolutely a $19.99 bottle.
Yep.
You may see it up to like $22.99 based on the gouging
The whiskey
where you're at, whiskeyflation.
Ooh.
But for $20, I am really digging this, guys.
Yeah,
Like,
this, for $20.
like it's again, don't get me wrong, it's not blowing me
good.
out of the water, but you guys know me. We've had some cheap bottles where I've completely shat upon and will not continue to drink it, and this has me going back to it.
In the words of the peaches of the flop house, this is a bad bourbon that I kind of like.
I
They
almost
say
don't
it's
want to call it a bad bourbon.
They say it's a bad movie that I kind of like, and so I'm like, yeah, it's
I
kind of
don't.
a
Yeah,
bad
but
bourbon that I
I
kind
kind
of
of don't
like.
want to say that though. I don't want to say it's a bad bourbon. I think it's a good middle of the road bourbon.
Yeah, it's a misnomer. It's very. So when we say it's unoffensive, by the way, I think it that is the most blah of blah. When I say it's unoffensive tonight, I guess I don't mean that, because I do have a sensation about this, and it is on the side of feeling good about this bourbon. I think that
Yeah.
this is super approachable. It's a bourbon that I would pour for anyone.
That's the thing. Hold, I want to talk and expand on that. This, I think, is a great entry level. Introduce your friends to bourbon. I think a lot of, let's just throw it out there. A lot of men, it's usually a traditional men's drink. Get the wives in on this. This, I think, you could sell the wives.
Oh yeah, you could
with your Four Roses bourbon.
It's
here.
bourbon cocktail season, ladies and gentlemen.
That too.
And
This
we were going to do a cocktail show tonight, but sadly, our third this evening, Harvey here, was just not feeling up to drinking. So no cocktail show tonight. Maybe next week.
Yes, cocktail show is coming.
We're working on what to do with your end of summer bourbon cocktails before we get into those hardcore. You all right?
Yeah, no, I'm really like.
Oh, okay. Before you're not having a reaction, are you?
No. So I'm like,
do I need to
all
be
these
concerned?
meds, and I start to like. I'm starting to like.
You're gonna have a Mr. Creosote moment.
I just finished it, so
okay.
Whatever reaction is, it's gonna come and go. It's not gonna get worse. So anyway,
a wafer thin mint is what you would like. A wafer thin mint. All right, so $20.
Oh, War Clan. We're gonna make these cocktails for everybody. Just my point being, this is just a really good entry level. Get the wives, get whoever in on it. Get a non-bourbon drinker. This, I think, if you want to intro them to bourbon, this is the segue. This is one of those bottles.
No, I'm gonna call it out right now.
What are you
for
doing?
Top Feed and for Redbeard and for X-Ray struck me as a seasoned bourbon drinker last week in the show.
Yeah.
So for those of you that are the seasoned collectors and drinkers like us, I feel like I could make a cocktail with Four Roses, and I feel like you would be happy with it. Like, you would not spit it out. You wouldn't go, oh no, I'm not having that. Like, I think you would have it and go, wow, that's really good. And it wouldn't be, wow, it's really good because you didn't think I could make cocktails. It's going to be, wow, it's really good because it's Four Roses.
Yeah.
And you would never have expected it. Again, overlooked. I think this is a very overlooked brand. Those that are really devout to it are very devout to it, but this is not super mainstream. I see it around all the time, but I'm also not seeing it as the featured bourbon in cocktail menus right now up and down the strip or at some of these high-end whiskey bars. So I really do think this is flying under the radar. That's going to influence my score a little bit. Do you want to talk scores so soon?
I kind of don't. I'm enjoying it, and I'm kind of having a good time. Why don't we talk
in this?
Why don't we talk nose taste value?
Well, what I'd like you to talk about, since I brought up this nose, so there's a lot of malt on the nose.
Yeah.
And I thought, one of the things we didn't talk about on the show yet, but we talked about pre-show, was let's talk about the mash bill on this bottle. This is interesting. So the mash bill on this bottle is not one mash bill. How many mash bills is it?
So first of all,
it's 10.
There's 10 mash bill recipes they use at Four Roses.
Mash bill recipes.
So for those that don't know, they go off a lettering system. Okay. And each recipe, basically very different mash bills of corn, rye, and barley. And they're broken down by OBSV, OBSK, OBSO, OBSQ, and so on. I'm not going to go through all of them, but anyway,
No, you should look these up though, because each blending
There's
of that
so much-
represents
First of all, the Four
a
Roses
flavor
website.
profile.
Yes, the Four Roses website and the breakdown of their mash bills is the best I have ever
I've
seen.
never seen it so good.
Of a distiller that was so open book of what they're selling and their product. I love them for this.
It's really respectable.
Like, this is intense. Like, if you're a data guy, like, I just love
Or
nerding
gal.
it up, or gal. Like, this is amazing.
It's a good website. This is one of the better websites that we've seen.
Yeah,
and
no,
then they're
this
talking
website
about the process
is
and the
fantastic.
coloring, and this is really interesting.
Yeah, and it's so it says
But
we.
they can't see it,
Yeah, they can't see it.
so you should really look it up.
unfortunately.
And I think that the only recommendation we can make is go check this out at fourrosesbourbon.com.
So they do a combination of 2 mash bills, 5 proprietary yeast strains to create 10 uniquely different bourbon recipes.
That then they blend all 10 together to give us Four
So
Roses.
here we go.
blended
Here
bourbon.
we go. The O designates the production facility. The second letter is the mash bill. The third letter is the mash bill, and the fourth letter designates straight whiskey distillation.
What is that?
I don't know. See, I got to keep reading this. Look at all this information on here. This is insane. Guys, fourrosesbourbon.com
Is blowing my mind. Okay,
Wow.
so check that out.
This is intense and it's amazing.
This could be one of the more educational things in whiskey since us.
They talk about fermentation, distillation, how they come up with their yeast strains, the breakdowns of all their mash bills, the breakdowns of their grains. Wow.
I'm impressed.
And that's like full disclosure, right? Because
complimented and
I
impressed.
lose my mind when I just go to a distillery's website and it's like a generic like WordPress website that they whip together in 5 minutes, and it's like
Here at Mashbill Farms, we just want you to know sipping whiskey with a friend is the way to go.
from grain to glass,
Grab a buddy.
the passion
and sit on the porch.
that me and my other half have put into this product, where we were teachers a year ago and we all of a sudden thought we could be master distillers.
Hey, I'm going to call that out as
And
oddly specific.
we're chasing the dragon, so to speak, and we're just going to open up a distillery because it's cool.
Stay tuned.
Because
for
listen,
Barrel Buddies news.
We don't have to make anything. Get this. We buy everything from Midwestern grain
Yeah,
products.
Stop. Ranty McGee
We
over here.
relabel it
Oh,
and double the price. And we throw our name on it. And we're all of a sudden master world-class distillers. That's all it takes, guys, is a dream and money. And if MGP has the stocks available, stocks of whiskey, not like the stock.
You feel good about that now? You feel better?
Had to get that off my chest.
All right. Let's talk nose taste value. Tell me some scores.
Nose taste value. The nose. I think the nose is very bright, citrusy. I already talked about that. I would give that off the old scale a 3.
Okay.
I love that. I like it's a bright, fun, basic, not basic, but it's like simplistic, but in a good way.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Taste.
Uh-huh.
Taste is where up front, yeah, I'm digging it, but then it falls off real quick. And I think that's what you get for a lot of these like low end price
but that's
bourbons,
not a
but it's
bad
not a
thing.
bad thing, right?
Okay.
It's just quick.
It's not a bad thing. Just is
Again,
what it is.
it's not some 8-year heavy hitter that is going to give you this Kentucky hug that lasts an hour and I can go smoke a Macanudo with it. No, this is like BJ has said, cocktails, that intro to bourbon for somebody.
Yeah, I
Metal,
like it.
welcome to the show, and welcome, Sailor, welcome. Missed a few people in the chat there. So value, $20 is a no-brainer. That gets a 3 from me. So what do you got, nose taste value?
Yeah, I'm not going to argue, and I'm not sure I have much more to add. I do think that there is some very good qualities to this bourbon. I think that there are some things that, for me, when I drink anything, especially bourbon, especially whiskey,
A lot of people are saying you got to turn that hat around. You're not 15. I just got to say in the comments because I kind of agree. So
Okay.
I think you look a little bit more respectable
no,
with the brim
The person
forward.
that's calling that out just wants the advertising. I apologize.
Well, let's see the advertisements here.
Showing the support.
Oh, why? Well, of course we want to show support to our
Showing the support
friends
for the Las Vegas
of the
action.
Las Vegas action.
Excuse me. It's not because it's not. They know my style. Anyways, not a lot to add other than I do get sentimental in tasting my bourbon, and I do think that there are some good sentiments here for the holiday. We have a big holiday tradition of mixing bourbon with Vernors, so bourbon and ginger.
Oh, this was
And I think this would be
Burners and Four Roses.
I think that could be a good thing. Yeah,
Oh,
normally it's
boy,
Evan.
boy.
So normally we're doing Vernors and Evan, or Jack and Vernors. Really, it's Jack is like the top for that cocktail.
Yeah.
But I'd throw some Four Roses and some Vernors. So yeah, I'm not going to dissipate too much.
What about
Value is
Schweppes?
3.
Can we put Schweppes?
Terrible. We've done a show on the best.
Or what about A&W?
Yeah, we've done a show on A&W. Doesn't make ginger ale, do they?
Oh, maybe I'm mistaking that with cream soda.
Let me finish
my
apologies. So three to the nose. I think it's. Well, I'm sorry, 2 to the nose. I think that it's okay, but it's not anything to super write home to. I think the flavor is a 2. I think the value
no
is a
to
3.
Schweppes. Okay. Again, I don't recall having.
So
Schweppes
I'd put
versus
this as a 7.7.
Wow.
Or a 77
okay.
out of 100, or a 7.7 out of 10 on our scale. I'm not blown away by it. But this is decent, and I think that this is good. It has a lot of good things going for it.
Here, for $20, get out there and buy it, friends.
Yeah, I put this in my bar if it's not there.
Yeah. This, I think, is I wouldn't say a must-have, but it's a good purchase.
You know, we talk a lot about the guest whiskey, and we all know that hopefully you have your own guest whiskey stash now. But in all of our guest whiskey stashes, you know, we have all these things. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is super fancy. Go try it. But you also have to have some solid, you know, Old Faithfuls. I think you could throw Four Roses in as a solid Old Faithful.
Yes.
That even if somebody's trying to get into some like lone whisker and you're like, no, you don't want that. I want you to have something that's good. Why don't you
or
have
the
the Four
Duke?
Roses? Stop.
I'm
going
kidding.
to bring the Duke on the show. I'm going to bring the Duke on the show. The Duke, I know you just don't like it because it is celebrity whiskey. That's the only reason you don't like it.
Despise celebrity.
It's the only reason you don't like
alcohol.
it is because it's John Wayne's family's whiskey. Hence the Duke.
Gacy?
Whiskey.
John Wayne Gacy?
No.
Okay, really quick.
So
into the chat.
That's my story.
C1, C2, C3 say hi to the Barrel Buddies.
Hello, children.
Hello, C's, C squared, right?
Well,
No,
they're individuals.
C to the third. Oh, they're individuals.
But Chase, especially, he's a big fan of the show.
All right. It's always good to hear feedback from our fans. So much appreciated.
Just a reminder, this show is 421 and older.
That too. So here's my score, and it's crazy close to yours.
Okay.
I was going to go first. I'm giving this a 79.
Wow.
So I think we're right in line with our thought process, with kind of how we feel about this. Has its pros, has its cons. I think, you know, if you watch the show, you kind of have figured that out by now. You can get this anywhere. That's another thing I want to bring up. Four Roses, you should be able to find at all your liquor stores.
Yeah, and a lot of your bars, you're going to find this.
Bars should have it. Bars will probably have the small batch, potentially the single barrel.
Fact.
But that's what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. We have some more shows to bring you guys to the Four Roses line, and I'm very excited about it. I can't wait to kind of keep moving up the chain.
Wow, well, no, I can't.
Four Roses.
How exciting!
Because here's the thing. I've kind of had a neutral opinion on Four Roses for a long time. I haven't had a lot of it. Which is kind of saying a lot. I come on with the Barrel Buddies, so I haven't had a lot of Four Roses. They're kind of one of the biggest names. I know. It's just never one of those brands.
I have to make an admission.
You drink a lot of it?
Forgive me.
That's fine if you drink a lot of it.
Forgive me, Barrel Buddy community, for I have sinned. I don't drink a lot of Four Roses either. In fact, so much I don't drink this that I said, yeah, Four Roses. It's a Texas bourbon, right? It's Texas bourbon. And I said it very confidently.
Before the show.
And he went, no, it is not. Good God, do not say that on the show. Because I was like, oh, it's a Texas bourbon, right? Oh, no.
And you were so confident in that statement.
Very confident. I would have come up here like a total ass and been like, no, it's out of Texas. What are you talking about?
Friends with Garrison Brothers and Balcones. I've been like, nope.
Lawrenceburg, Kentucky.
Wrong. And then everybody in the chat would have been like, you're wrong.
Oh, yeah, I would have looked a fool.
The internet police would have came down.
No horny.
Exactly. Sub 1K lolled at the JWG reference. Very good. Chris is asking if you'd make a Manhattan with it.
No,
I don't think I would
not
either.
strong enough.
It's not strong enough.
No.
Again, I think this is
40. This is a 40%.
Yeah.
Easy drinker, smooth drinker. I'd put this up against Evan Williams, and we have go watch that show. And it did not do well against the Evan Williams.
Yeah, I think you're onto something with the Vernors. I think I would totally.
But I'd mix
take
this with ginger.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, ginger and ginger ale
Easy
and
drinker.
4 Roses.
So no Manhattan.
Yeah,
I think
Manhattan.
maybe this bottle. But even that would be a sin. I mean, such a limited edition. You don't really want to.
I mean, the single barrel is probably what we want to use for a Manhattan or an old fashioned.
Could be. Yeah, definitely.
And what's the small batch select? I think is still 40.
52.
Oh, so maybe that when we get to that could be for your cocktails.
Could be good. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll get to it.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, barrel buddies.
Well, that about wraps it up for us. Anything left in the chat?
So I'm getting asked if they produce a rye, and as far as I know, they do not. So per their website, they do not. I've never seen a bottle of their rye. Maybe a long time ago they did. I don't see anything that alludes to a 4 Roses rye. Apparently, they did make it at one point, and it's very, very old.
It looks cool. That's a cool looking bottle.
So apparently in the 1940s, 2 years before Seagram's bought them, you could get a rye,
4 Roses rye.
a 4 Roses rye, but you cannot anymore.
Well, there you go. Now you know.
Now the more you know. That's when we do the more you know. Edit that in post, will ya? The more you know, Rainbow.
We'll do what I can. Copyright issues. So for the Barrel Buddies.
For the Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
And I'm BJ. Thanks for joining us tonight. Drink well, be well, and stick around for Barrel Buddies news.
Oh, yeah. Stick around for the news. Be right back.